Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Sustainability 2024 Capstone Project. My name is Lucille, and I am here with Alex, and we're here to present our project called Casa Mariposa, which is designing a better, more sustainable future for the province of Alberta. So to give a bit of an introduction, we aim to work together to reimagine the future of architecture in a way that's accessible to everyone and sustainable above all. Our mission is to create an aspirational space that combines timeless design and sustainability. So to give some context, into the home building environment in Canada on a national level with regards to emission output, Canada's homes and buildings account for 18% of national greenhouse gas emissions, which is very, very high. And if you thought that was high, at a local emissions level, 40% of Edmonton's greenhouse gas emissions are coming just from residential and commercial buildings, which is an extremely high number. And with regards to housing demand, Alberta has 3,679 housing starts in February 2024 alone, and an increase of 65.5% compared to about 1 year ago. So we can infer from these three statistics that the housing building environment is not only detrimental to the output of greenhouse gas emissions, but not only that, is that it's going to continue to grow. So moving forward to the scope of our project, we aim in creating sustainable design. So we will deep dive into what a sustainable home will look like and what architectural decisions can be made to create a home that integrates into the environment. Secondly, we will be looking at sustainable systems, so understanding what dynamic systems and technology can improve the efficiency and longevity of homes. And third, looking at sustainable production. So how can we reduce environmental harm through the production process of home developments into the future? So now we're going to look at design, and our main focus question is how can we build homes in a sustainable way? So we have two important design objectives within our project, first being the use of biophilic design. So we aim to use biophilic design elements such as the use of natural light and interconnectedness with nature because we deem it as very important, and we'll deep dive into that. And secondly, to create a generational home. So we aim to design a long-lasting building that will support, housing generations to come, both from a structural and aesthetic level. So first, looking into architecture, we have opted to go for a passive solar design. And this, looking from an overall kind of perspective, minimizes the cooling and heating loads with energy efficient solar energy strategies that are actually independent from mechanical and electrical devices that you can integrate into a home. And year-round, passive solar homes will actually maintain a constant and comfortable temperature while minimizing energy use. So this kind of design involves a house facing south directly towards the sun, which utilizes additionally high thermal mass products like insulated concrete form wall systems. And then during the cold weather, the sunlight that shines through the south-facing windows allows the home to absorb and store the heat in those thermal mass materials and then releases the warmth during cold nights. And this process actually helps stabilize temperature shifts within the home from, summer to winter. And then during warmer weather, the south-facing windows, will typically need overhang shutters, awnings, or you could extend the roof to ensure shade during solar heat gains. Additionally, the south-facing windows and skylights can bring daylight deep into a home, or which will allow natural daylight to come, naturally into the house and will reduce the energy need for artificial light. So moving forward to one of our design objectives in creating a biophilic design is the use of this methodology for designing a home that nurtures the relationship between people and nature in introducing various different natural features into the built environment. So there are 6 different elements of biophilic design that were initially conceived by Stephen Kellert, who was a social ecologist and very prominent in the space of biophilic design advocacy, and basically came to the conclusion that humans have this biologically encoded affinity for nature and a sense of dependence on it. And so he actually claimed that contact with the natural world is just not only beneficial for our well-being, but essential to it. So we took these, key learnings and decided to implement them into the design of this home. And so first looking at the first principle of environmental features, this could include encompassing any kind of water, color, natural colors, plants, sunlight, and other natural materials. With regards to natural shape and form, this is designing in different kind of arches or domes, vaults, botanical motifs, and shells and spirals. And then from the third, natural patterns and processes, age is a really big theme where the patina of time is used. So, for example, the use of materials such as wood and brass as it ages, that's a really important component. And fourth, with regards to light and space, having a balance between natural light, filtered, and diffused light is really important. Fifth, from plant-based relationships, having a strong geographic connection to the place in which a home is built, and again, using indigenous materials. And then six, evolved human and nature-based relationships. So ensuring that the individuals that are and families that are actually living in this home feel a sense of security and protection, which is really important for biophilic design. So if we move forward, here we have 3 kinds of examples that could encompass some of those 6 principles. So first, plants inside the home are really important. One great trend happening is actually the planting of indoor trees. Secondly, ensuring that spaces that are kind of the heart of the home, such as the kitchen, are really exposed to natural, trees around so that you're kind of encompassed within this natural realm. And then third, just looking at creating natural spaces outside. So in the context of this house, which is entitled Casa Mariposa, we would be planting a butterfly garden to attract different wildlife to the home. So moving forward to a generational home and constructing that, we decided to focus on 3 different elements, which include a flexible layout, accessibility, and timeless design. So if we go forward, a flexible layout enables the home to be able to adapt to different changing needs over time. So spaces can be repurposed or modified to accommodate evolving family dynamics, such as converting a bedroom into a home office or a playroom into a bedroom for an elderly family member. Generational homes are typically also designed with accessibility in mind, so incorporating, wide doorways, step-free entrances into the home, and accessible bathrooms to accommodate for individuals with mobility issues, seniors, or those with disabilities is really important. And then lastly, timeless design makes use of staple, natural, durable materials. So this could be such as the use of woods like oak and teak. And with this in mind, you can really ensure that a home will endure the test of time across different trends and eras. And it also ensures longevity, value, and long-term cost effectiveness, and ultimately reduced waste. So now I'll pass it on to Alex to go through systems.
Thanks, Lucille. So moving on from the design aspect of our presentation, we want to look at what dynamic systems and technology can we place within this building envelope that can essentially improve the overall efficiency and longevity of our homes. So the first thing, and what might be obvious, is taking a look at solar. As many people know, Edmonton and Alberta as a province is a very sunny place. As a matter of fact, Edmonton, Alberta has approximately 1,200 kilowatts of annual photovoltaic potential, meaning that it's a great place, at least one of the best places within Canada to utilize solar within your home. So where do we go from there? We begin to look for the most efficient solar panels possible. We found that Canadian Solar High Hero 455-watt monocrystalline panels bode a 22.8% efficiency, making them the most efficient ones on the market for residential homes. We also benefit from the fact that these are locally sourced, and as we'll get into later, the more you can locally source your materials, the more sustainable your process is. Finally, we want our designs to be accessible. And so to be accessible, you need to find cost-effective solutions. So we will certainly be taking advantage of and be advocating for Canada's Greener Homes Initiative, which is a $5,000 solar grant going towards residential projects. The next home systems that we'll be taking a look at are HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. It should be known that HVAC takes up approximately 50% of a home's energy. So it's definitely something to look at for ways you can improve the efficiency. And the first thing that we want to look at, especially being that our homes are going to be facing the frigid Edmonton winters of sometimes up to like down to -40, we need a really high efficiency furnace. So since it's a keystone part of the home heating system, we want to make sure we have at least a 98% efficiency within our furnace, and we hope to integrate it within solar. Thirdly, within this slide, we want to take a look at something simple, but something that can have a massive impact, and that's a smart thermostat system. It's estimated that 10 to 30% savings it can have a 10 to 30% savings on heating and cooling. And when we took a look at the market for kind of what was the best out there, we found that the Ecobee thermostat tended to have the best energy savings. Continuing with HVAC and home systems, another very integral part of your home's energy consumption is water heating. It's estimated that water heating can take up 50% of a home's energy use, especially when winters are cold and you want a warm shower. You need a very efficient water pump to get you there. In the summer, we hope to basically streamline the heat from the sun straight into your showers, straight into your pipes, and basically integrate the water heating with the solar that we have on the roof. Lastly, we want to take a look at a variable speed HVAC. The way that traditional HVAC systems typically work is they're either turning on or turning off. So as soon as it gets too hot, the heat turns off. As soon as it gets too cold, the heat turns on. Whereas a variable speed HVAC is basically constantly monitoring and making micro adjustments to your home heating system, and can have a massive impact on the efficiency in the long run. Next, taking a look at production. So how can we reduce the environmental harm through the production process of this home and developments into the future? So the first thing that we're going to take a look at for sure is the materials that we use. Like I said earlier, we're going to be using solar on a roof, but it doesn't mean we can't make some gains in terms of reducing the amount of cooling we need in the house. And that comes from, as the name implies, a cooling roof. It's pretty simple. A cooling roof increases the albedo of your home by having a reflective surface like white paint, white sheet metal, something like that on the surface of the roof, and can have a massive impact on keeping your home cool. The next thing that we want to take a look at is a polyiso roof insulation. So polyiso roof insulation has one of the highest insulation properties in the market. It's estimated that you can lose approximately 25% of your home's heat through the roof, especially in a cold climate like Edmonton. You basically want insulation that's going to be very top of the market. It also benefits from the fact that polyiso roof insulation can be made from recycled materials, which is another great benefit to the overall sustainability of the home. Next is looking at windows. Most of your home's heat is transferred through windows. So you want to have very efficient glass. And that's essentially on the market today, triple glaze, double low E. So triple glaze is having 3 panes of glass. Double low E is the gas inside those 3 panes that has an insulating properties and keeps your home either cool or warm, kind of whatever you'd like it to be. Next, another place that heat can leak through is your doors. So we want Energy Star doors, which is basically the highest ranked efficiency on the market, at least within Alberta, Canada. And so we're going to take a look at Energy Star doors as well. Next, we want a sustainable foundation. We'd like to use basically a high density concrete, 32 MPa approximately. And this is something that we want to source more locally, maybe from concrete mines on Grotto Mountain, kind of close to Calgary. Closer we can get it to the home, the more sustainable that basically our foundation is going to be. Finally, and as Lucille has mentioned before, we want to use insulated concrete forms, or ICFs. ICFs can basically increase your home's ability to retain heat by 32%. And essentially what it is it's like a concrete envelope for the foundation and the walls of your home. So it creates a vacuum seal envelope of your house that, keeps heat in. Next, we want to look at building practices. So if you're going to be a builder building homes in Canadian winters, the number one thing that you kind of have to take a look at is temporary heating. So as soon as things get past October in your construction process, you need temporary heating in your basement, and you need temporary heating on your main floors. And the way that's usually done in the industry is traditional fuel oil or propane. However, we want to go a different route. We want to use a low emission hydronic heating to reduce as many of the harmful gases that we release into the atmosphere as possible. Next, we want to take a look at sustainable landscaping. So by shading your house better, you can have a massive impact on the cooling of your home, but also water conscious irrigation. A lot of your home's water goes towards your landscaping. So picking plants that require less water all the time. Different practices can be implemented to require less and still maintain a healthy backyard. And last, as I've alluded to before, is to source locally. The more that we can source locally, the closer that we can get our materials from, the more sustainable the project is going to be overall. So how exactly are we going to make sure and ensure that our house is as sustainable as we hope it to be? And that's going to be through testing and certification. The first thing we want to look at is Canada's Net Zero Home certification. It's estimated to be 80% more efficient than the average building code within Canada. And it basically means that the energy gains that you're going to bank mostly in the summer from solar completely offset the consumption of energy throughout the year from your home. It's net zero. The next thing we want to take a look at is Passive House. It's the highest voluntary energy-based standard in the construction industry. But most importantly, it is an institute and a database for research into building more sustainable homes across the globe. Passive House was a massive resource for us in constructing this project because it publishes a lot of the information it has about its homes. We would like to take part in this process as we want to be advocates and provide resources for the next generation of sustainable home builders. And without further ado, we get into the case study in which we took from Passive House to kind of like reference throughout this project. This is known as the passive narrow. Building lots within Edmonton are getting more narrow, kind of between 24 to 28 pocket lots. So we figured this would be a good comparable. And the first thing that is noted on this house is it's designed to last. So going back to what Lucille said about building a generational home, if you want to build a generational home, you need materials that are going to last generations. You want a high quality building envelope with materials that are going to last at least 100 years, or at least, and that's what they've done in this case. The next, you want to look at premium windows and insulation, which is exactly what they've done. They've outsourced Energy Star rated windows and doors, as well as implementing that poly ISO roof insulation, as I mentioned in the previous slides. And lastly, they integrated solar. They had high efficiency solar panels integrated into the energy system of the home to kind of offset whatever consumption they do use. Here's our references for our presentation, but I want to give you a thank you for making it through our video today. We had a really, really great time making this project, and I hope you learned a little bit about designing a better, more sustainable future for the province of Alberta.